Good morning, afternoon, and evening, everyone, from wherever you're joining today's Microsoft Hero Community session. Sorry for being a bit late. There's a bit of the technical issues to start this live. My name is Priya, Microsoft Security MVP, MCT, and Community Leader in Microsoft Hero. Before actually having our great speaker on the stage, I would love actually to kind of the same as always, just cover a couple of actually community rules, and then we're gonna have Jeevarajan on the stage. So give me a sec. I'll just bring my slides up. Here you go. So as you know, the Microsoft Learn community is an ideal place and a space to build your skills, connect with the Microsoft experts, and receive genuine support throughout your learning journey. So make sure you don't miss it out. So explore it today and take your next steps with confidence. So a bit of code of conduct. As the same as always, be friendly and respectful to everyone, listen to different opinions, and be kind and patient when you are actually asking your questions or answering the questions. So without further delay, I would love actually just, we are very pleased to have Jeevarajan, which is his 6 times MVP and with 14 years of technical and functional expertise in Dynamics 365 customer engagement, Power Platform, Azure, and other Microsoft technology stack. So please join me in welcoming Jeevarajan on the stage. And Jeevarajan, great to have you here. How are you?
Great. Nice to have be in this Microsoft Zero to Hero. It's an absolute pleasure to be here and share my knowledge and insights about the field service to the wider audience. And first of all, apologies again. I had a technical glitch with my new laptop. There are lots of restrictions in terms of the content that I need to share. And then, this is the first time I'm presenting in the Microsoft Zero to Hero, and a sincere apologies for that.
Oh, it's all good. Great to have you here today. So give me a sec. I'll just bring your slides up, and I'm going to be behind of the stage, and you let me know if you need anything, but the stage is yours.
Perfect. Thank you. Appreciate it for your time. And let me just quickly share without further ado, as I said, it's a little bit delayed. And hello, everyone. Again, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining from. Welcome to the Microsoft Zero to Hero, and wonderful platform for all of us to basically learn, educate, get certified, and get assistance in our career. And today, as part of the Microsoft Zero to Hero, I am going to present about the Dynamics 365 Field Service. It is going to be basic 101 session, so where we're going to go through about some basics about field service. If you have not used field service, or if you have been using it but you're new to it, if your organization is using it, and if you're new to it or you're planning to implement some, probably this is the right session for you to kickstart the journey in terms of the Dynamics 365 Field Service. So I'll just do a quick intro about myself before I get into the session. So myself, Jeevarajan Kumar, and you can call me Jiva if that's easier. And I am a solution architect working at Veldradar, an NRI company. I'm living in Auckland, beautiful city in wonderful country, New Zealand. And I have 14 years of experience in Dynamics 365, especially specialized in servicing, which is field service and customer service. But I do work in sales and marketing and other areas as well, and Power Platform, of course. And this is my 6th year in the Microsoft MVP program. And this is my YouTube channel, and then my website. Pretty much I go with the name CRM Indian, as I just said that long back. It's just still sticking with that. And then this is my Twitter handle. That's Jeevarajan04. And that's my LinkedIn. I'm quite easy to find. If you just search my name, you'll be able to find it. And if you're not already been connected, please feel free to connect and ask any questions post the session as well. I'm happy to help wherever I can. So the agenda for the today's session is going to be an introduction about what field service is, and what is the functional, the sort of structural component of field service is what we're going to see today. And of course, we're going to see some demo as well. I'm happy to show a quick demo in the trial environment that I created, and I have I imported some sample data as well. It's quite time-consuming process to set up some sample data, but I'll show you what can be done there. So followed by the basic stuff. We're going to see an extensive things on the scheduling, which I see is the foundation and heart of the whole field service. The ROI is completely based on that, how we effectively manage the technicians or resources, time, travel, and the work time. So that's why we gone bit more than a fundamental in the scheduling, and then we'll see something about mobile app and then the demo as well. So first thing first, introduction. So you're going to see, like what is field service. For field service is basically, as per Microsoft definition, or in general term, it's a business application that basically helps organization deliver on-site service to customer location. It's simple as that. If you want to send a certain people or individual person to go to the remote location or customer location to do a job, it can be in fixing an air conditioner at your home, or doing an on-site repair for your car. It's all comes in the part of the field service. And it's not just about repair or fixing a car. It also can be managing, it can be applied to pretty much all the service industries, and which is including healthcare as well, where you manage the doctors, rooms, nurses, equipments as well. It's not just the persona, it's not just about the people. It can basically apply to any kind of object that can be blocked and then scheduled. So the dispatching, it's all about, again, the key, a core concept is basically dispatching the workers to a specific locations to maintain, install, repair, or like it can be a worker, it can be a machine, it can be blocking the facilities as well. So you can have an individual worker, you can have a pool of workers, you can have a crew of workers. It's all different. That's why it gets more extensive. But we are not going to go into that today. And then we're going to see some tools that will be assisting in creating the work orders, and then scheduling, and then also dispatching some technicians. And we'll see how the work order is executed and how the asset is managed and serviced, and how inventory is adjusted, and then it's finally billed. So it's going to be a full end-to-end. We're going to see the full end-to-end about all the field component of the field service, but we'll see demo on certain component of it, as it's pretty much impossible to cover all of these things in one session. So each of this area, we can be a separate session itself, which we'll see something in the future, if hopefully. But for now, we'll just stick with the basics about what it is and then how they can be used. So why we need field service? So what value does it brings? So basically, field service helps to decrease in overall average time travel by scheduling the jobs right to the closest and the best technicians, and so that it saves time, runtime, job, reduces the fleet time and maintenance and all those things, right? It's all about, for any field operations business, that's the key. So that's the key, to have the right technician who is fit for the job, and it shouldn't be overqualified, it should be underqualified, and it should be the nearby one. He shouldn't, or he or she shouldn't be traveling too much. All these factors directly converts into money. So that's what the key component of the field service businesses, and Dynamics 365 Field Service help to offer these in these areas. So improved first time fix rate from always having the part, instructions, and skills to succeed before arriving on site. So it's all about now finding the right, having the right equipment, right information to do the job, in the first visit itself. Again, it's all comes to the money in the revenue. If you're talking about having these informations in the first place, critical. And then the increased customer satisfaction, because when you have the right job done with the right time, definitely better customer satisfaction. And it's going to be more transparent of what the work is being performed. And also the component comes, which is the preventive maintenance, where instead of letting the certain equipment to fail and then go and fix it, the businesses are trying to do the maintenance and fix even before the equipment fails, which is what we are up to today. An increased service call per technician with optimized schedules and standardization and measurement of on-site visits. With this, we can have more jobs attended by specific technicians with the proper planning and the effective routing. That's what it's pretty much an advantage of using the Dynamics 365 Field Service as a crux of it. But it is, when it comes to the when we see more details, we understand how it's all come together and what are the more values that the software can offer. So the core capabilities of the Dynamics 365 Field Service would be, defining and scheduling a work order or work, and then managing the field staff and the inventory, and enabling billing, invoicing, and reporting for those jobs that's been done, and providing the mobile capability and the offline capability. Not always, when the field technicians will have the luxury of using the high-speed internet or internet. So the mobile app, the field service mobile app, does also offers the offline capability, where the technician will be able to provide the insight, provide this job with the offline app, and the app is offline, and then once he connects back to a network, the data gets synced, and then it works. So that kind of uh, um, features are quite critical for technicians who worked on the remote areas. The first thing first, the base or the key data point of field service is the work order. So that's the central record that defines the service work to be performed, and it is what basically tracks who, what, where, and when for every single field service job that's been done. So when I say work order, I'm not just being very specific to the table here. I'm specific to the data here. So when I say work order, its related tables also comes into the picture. Like, when we see shortly in the demo, you will understand what I'm talking about. So work order has service tasks, services, incident types, and it has associated resource requirements, bookings. So all these things are component to a work order. And then that's what basically defines what needs to be done, where needs to be done, who will need to do it, and when they will need to do it. And it also acts as a foundation for the scheduling, which we talked in the previous slides about getting the right person or right team to basically, or right machine or right room or facility to get booked and blocked, and then they get the work done. And also it acts as the foundation for the inventory management and the billing when it comes to ERP integration with the field service, to manage your whole inventory, stocks, and replenishing the stocks, and also the billing and the invoicing. So it's all where this gets connected, and the work order will be acting as the foundation for all of these things. And this slide is going to be pretty key and important slide. So this slide basically talks about the life cycle and the system status of the whole work order. Being said that it's the key data point. So we need to understand how the work order life cycle starts and where it ends, and how it gets generated. So the work order creation happens via like 3 different data points within the Dynamics 365 Field Service, or it can be from external system via integrations as well. So if you talk from within the Dynamics 365, and work order can be manually created, number one, which is not called out here, but it can be manually created, and then it can be auto-generated via the agreement. An agreement is a table that as name sounds, it's an agreement. It helps to basically create a work order, a planned work orders for the future. So let's say you buy let's say a washing machine, for example, and then you have, let's say, quarterly services to the company offers the quarterly service for the first 2 years at your place. So what they do is they create a work order. So they create an agreement against your name for 2 years with the recurrent setting as once in every 3 months, so that for next 2 years you will have 8 work orders created. Depends on the settings we configure. Either it creates all the 8 upfront, or it creates as the date approaches, which we see shortly. And then you have the work order created, and then the work order will be scheduled. So someone will be at your home by that time. So that's what happens. And next thing is opportunity. A work order can be also created from as a sales. If there's an opportunity, and if somebody wants to go and do a site visit as part of the sales pipeline, and that's where the conversion from opportunity comes into the picture. And then case as well. So there can be a incident that is reported by a customer, and then it comes to the frontline desk by taking a case, and then when the frontline, let's say they do the due diligence and then find out that it requires someone to do an on-site visit to perform the further steps, and that's where the case gets converted into work order, and certain information from the case gets copied into the work order, like the customer information and other key components, and then it can be derived from there as well. And as I said, it can be created from the integrations. When you have a a separate work order management system, or like an legacy system, or an IoT device, basically that triggers something and the work order gets created. So it's all part of the initial creation of the work order. And next step is basically scheduling and dispatching the work order. So that's where we're going to talk in detail later part of the session, where how this, it basically talks about how these work orders will be dispatched, assigned to the right technician or the team of technician, and how the supporting components like the facilities and the equipments will be blocked as well as part of the scheduling and dispatching. And there are certain tools that Field Service Dynamics 365 Field Service offers to effectively do the scheduling. So we will see all those things in detail shortly. And then once the scheduling and dispatching is done, once the technician is on the remote place, finishes the work order, and then it basically comes back to the back office by where they can review it, and then they will approve it, and then it goes to the billing cycle of invoice raising and invoicing for the customer, or then the equipment that has been used as part of the work order will get adjusted in the inventory. So all this happens as a whole, and this is that's why I say work order is the crux of the Dynamics 365 Field Service, and then all these components in the areas basically revolves around that. Another thing to be noted is, let me just go to the next slide. Probably that's the best thing to, here. So in terms of work order, we also need to understand about how the work order out of the box status is. So when a work order is created for the first time, it will be in an open and unscheduled status. And there is another table behind the scene called booking, bookable resource booking. The schema name is bookable resource booking. So what it does is this work order status is derived by the booking status, which we'll see how it works and how it can be configured. So the work order status, when it's created, it creates as an open unscheduled, and at that time there is no booking created. So when the dispatcher schedules a booking, or an RSO, which is an automatic scheduling engine, allocates a technician for the job, that's where the booking is created. So when the booking is created, booking is it's a table that basically holds the information about what work order needs to be performed by who, when. That's what like the booking holds. And when the first time the booking is created, that's the time the work order becomes to schedule status. Basically, that's where the resource is assigned. Resource can be person, like a technician, or it can be equipment, it can be facility, it can be all combinations of them. So that's where the book resource gets assigned, and the work order can have more than one bookings as well. So when there's more than one bookings, it needs to be close, all of them, to completely close the work orders. And it becomes in progress when the technician, once the booking is scheduled, the technicians will be able to access the bookings from their mobile app or from their tablet, and they will basically, when the day comes, they basically start the job. And that's where the booking, when they start the job, then the work order will be in progress and the booking is in progress. And then once the technician basically marks it as traveling, this work order becomes in progress, and then the technician will set the booking as reached, completed. It can be any status. You can have custom status as well. Once you have those, based on the life cycle of the booking, the work order life cycle gets adjusted. So once the technician completes the work order and all the items in the work order, that's when the work order gets completed. Then it comes to the back office surveying, basically to take a necessary action, either by making it to the next stage of closing the work order and then posting it to generate invoice and all those things. It can be automated as well, right? Like it's all depends on the business, but this is how it works. So this is the key component of the whole field service, like how the work order creates and what are the different stages of life cycle it goes through, and how the booking influences that is what we need to understand. And we'll see that in a demo that will help you to understand in a much better way than what we see here. And there are few data points, key data points, components within the work order. Is first thing is service account. Service account is basically the customer or the site. That's where defines where the work needs to be taken, and there is one more called functional location that's further segregated of of a customer site. So if you take a customer site as a building, a whole building, it can have a particular functional location as a particular floor and a particular room. So that's one level down, or detailed child level for the service account. And then you got incident type. So imagine incident type is a reusable template. So that template can hold what are the tasks needs to be done, performed by the technician, and what are the products that needs to be used by the technician, and what are the services he needs to do needs to be done by the technician. And you don't need to necessarily create them every single time for every single work order. So you basically create an incident type for the service that the business offers, and then whenever a particular work order needs to be created for that particular issue, that specific related incident type can be chosen, so that work order gets populated with these pre-filled information from the incident type. So it's kind of a reusable template. And the resource requirement is basically the connecting or linking record that connects the work order and the booking. So why we need one more resource in between, between the work order and the booking, is basically resource requirement is very specific to the resources requirement. Like as it says, it's basically skills. What are the skills required? What is the time promised, and all those kind of things. So that what is the preferred resource? What is the non-preferred resource? So those things and priority, all those things will define what booking needs to be. The system needs to choose. And then the products and services, basically what products and services, the billable items and gets offered. And then the service task is basically what are the what are the tasks that the technician needs to perform, and that's where service task comes in. And next thing is inspection. So inspection is pretty much sits within the service tasks of the work order. So so inspection makes the whole experience of the work service task more intuitive, and then more user friendly and more advanced as well. So imagine it as a digital form. So basically it's basically digital form. So when you perform a service task, like let's say first service task could be change the conveyor belt of the change the belt of the washing machine, something like that, let's say. And then there will be a certain number of tasks that the technician needs to finish, and then make sure he's completed those. So basically, and then you basically build that similar to Microsoft Forms. You basically build that form, the inspection form, which can be built, and then as admin you can build the form, and then that form will be embedded in the service task. When the technician opens the app, he or she will be able to verify the task, and then basically close the service task, and then close the work order. So pretty much whatever the technician has been doing in the paper, in the manual scenario, that's where they are basically doing it in the digitalized form in their mobile app or the tablet. So the key capabilities of the inspection is, it's as admin, whoever generates or whoever creates the inspection. So basically it's for them. So it supports different type of question types like text, numeric, drop down, checkbox, file upload, because technician can take a photo and upload to the task. And then it can have a multiple condition logic like Microsoft Forms. It allows multimedia and attachments. It works in offline when the field service mobile app. And you can also trigger it when a specific task incident types are selected, and then results appear in the incident inspection tab of the work order. So once we have it, and you can also have drive some automations around it to trigger further scenarios based on the business. And it's the template design has been created by the administrator. And then they will be, once the inspection is created, they will be linking it to the service task, and then the service task will be linked up to the incident type. And then when the work order, once you choose the primary incident type, those service task and the inspection will be also automatically associated to the work order. So technician is the one who's going to execute it. They will complete the field visit, and that time they use the inspection, and then they submit it, and then finally results will be sent back to the either you can do it as somebody manually will review it, or it can surface the data into Power BI, or you can export it for any compliance purpose, and so on. So but the point is that you will basically have a digitalized version of a form that technicians will do in the system itself. and then getting into the scheduling part of it. So what I'm going to do is, before I get into scheduling, I'm just quickly swap my window to show a quick demo so far that I show. So that, because once we get into scheduling, you're going to see it's going to get more detailed. So let's just go to the demo. So this is the field service. This is the field service app. So you can see the field service app as the default home. When you log in, you're going to have the home with certain dashboards, or you can have build your own dashboard as well. So I have imported some sample work orders inside the app. There's going to be a few dashboards there. It's basically says for the active work orders by the fiscal period. That's all. And there'll be certain tabs here, certain sections. So you got service, sales, inventory, resources, settings, and training. So first thing first is, when you install the field service app, you need to set the settings, the initial settings, like if you're going to use based on the features that you're going to use within the field service. So it can vary from simple auto numbering of the work order to all the way from like mixed reality and the agreement as well. So first thing is, you're going to have all these preview features where you can turn on and then try those things. And the main thing is the here work order and booking. So you can see, these are default settings. I haven't changed them, but you can always change based on your business. So the default work order status, completed status is marked as completed. These are the different work order status that you can choose. I'm just leaving completed as the normal completion scenario. And then when work order invoice is created, I will change the work order to posted. And then default warehouse is in main. But if you have more warehouse, and then we'll see about warehouse when we see the inventory shortly. But for now, just these are the settings that we basically have, and this is the enabling the big map for the field service mobile. And then RMA, RTV is all related to warehousing. And then there's the agreement which I was talking about. So if you have a preventive maintenance or the fixed agreement to generate the work orders upfront to service the customers, this is where you basically, agreement is the feature that we'll be using it, and the setting is the one that defines how the agreement needs to generate the work orders. So you can see here, are we going to allow auto generate work order for the agreement booking? Yes. And then we can also define how advanced we can generate an agreement, generate an work order from the agreement. So default is 45 days. I change it to 45 days, and you can change it to whatever you based on the business. So what does that mean is that if you have a scenario that I was just talking about earlier, about the washing, if you have a washing machine and then you have a quarterly service from the company that sells washing machine, so you basically have gonna have 8 work orders in 2 years, and the work orders will be generated in the system 45 days in advance based on the date. So if you have one in the Jan and then another one in the April, so for the April work order, it will be created 45 days in advance from the April. So that's how it works. And then these are all within the part of the agreement, which we don't go into details now. And then inventory and a purchase order, and then time entry, it just goes on based on the how the product gets integrated with other components for other systems. So once we do that, there is also something called just go to the resources. So this is where basically you set the bookings. So so just go to the booking and then go to the work order. So the field service, sorry, I hope there was some, just a moment. I don't know what happened. Yeah. So I just go to resource and then booking setup. You can see, like in the part of the booking setup, the field service is not just for the work order. You can use it for appointment as well. But work order is the main one, in terms of getting the jobs done. So this is further advanced configuration. I don't want to get details about it. And I just want to show you the booking status. This is what I was talking about. So this is where we can add our own booking status as well and link to the work order. So for example, if you open the in progress as a booking status, so you can basically see in the here, so you have a status as the in progress, and then the field service status is basically in progress as well. So if we just go back to the, let's say, completed or scheduled, so you can see here, Just a moment. Time entries, and then let me just go back to the rules here. And you can have a custom booking status as well here. And once you have the custom booking status, based on that, you basically configure what needs to happen along with the work order status mapping. So, and then another thing is scheduling parameters. These are all the few settings that you need to do. So you can see in scheduling parameters, you basically set up the, if we need to connect to the map when we want to use the schedule board, and then what is the default radius unit, whether kilometers or miles, what is the value, all those things we can be set in the here, which will basically reflect in the schedule board. So let's go quickly back to the work order. So this is the work order. So once the work order is generated, this is how it's going to look like. And you can see there are a bunch of work orders that's been unscheduled, and there'll be, I think, a work order, some of them scheduled and some of them completed. So if I set the life cycle, how it starts from, if I just open the work order that's unscheduled, means it's just created, as I said earlier. If you just open the unscheduled work order, you can see the customer is Adventure Works, and the service account is basically where the work needs to be done is at the service account. In this case, it's both same, but it can be different as well. The billing account can be a head office, and service account can be a branch office, something like that. And then functional location, as I said, it's a further segregation within the service account. If you want to go to specific floor, specific room, then that's where the functional location comes to the picture. And then you have the system status as unscheduled because the booking is not created. So you'll see shortly what happens when I create the booking via scheduling, which I'll go back to the slides before I do this. But I just want to show you something, the primary incident type, which is remember, the incident type is like a template. So once I choose this power fluctuation, in this case as an incident type, you can create any incident type, whatever you want based on the business. So if I just open an incident type, this is how it will look like. So you can create any incident type, and then you name the incident type, and then you basically put the details about the incident type. Like what kind of work order type is it going to be? Is it a diagnostics or repair? Or it can be anything. It's a master table, but you can create more of these work order types as well based on your business, and you can define how much duration it's going to take to finish this job. And then all these things will be copied to the work order the moment you choose the primary incident type here. So you see that when I choose the primary incident type, the work order estimated time comes from here. And then if I go to the product, okay, so this one doesn't have the product. So let's say if I just add a product here, just choose a product. Let's just call this one. And then let's say this quantity is probably, we need 2 of these. And then I just save and close. So this will have a product. Now if I go to the work order, and once I refresh this one, or I just remove and add it. Yeah, this one, something else. Yeah. So you can see the duration has changed here because that's where the that particular incident type has. So once we choose the incident type, what happens is this product and the services like this, and then the service task like this, all of these things gets copied into the work order, right? I know it's taking so much time. So this is where you basically define what needs to be done. So service task is the basically the individual task that needs to be done by the technician at the site. So you can see, like what he needs to do in which order. So you can define the order, you can define the time that needs to be done for each of the service tasks. If you see the overall time, that's pretty much is the consolidator of all this time. So if you see the job, it's for 2 hours. So, like pretty much the 2 hours also comes from here. So it's 1 hour, 30 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes, that's over 2 hours. And then the services is basically defines 2 hours of man service that needs to be done. And then what are the product needs to be used just to perform this particular job is what defined here. And then what are the skill sets that it's required by a technician to do this job is what's defined here in the characteristics. So this is what basically drives the scheduling, which we're going to see shortly, on who is the right and technician that will be capable, or who is the right technician the system needs to pick to a suitable technician that is to do this job is defined by the characteristics. It's basically skill set, right? If you need a driver, you need a driving skill, something like that. And then if you just go back to the work order, so I chose this replace broken part as the primary incident. Now you can see if I go to the product, so that there's no product in there as well. So if you just go back and choose this one, power fluctuation, as the incident type which was there, let me just choose this, and then I just save this. And meanwhile, within the service task, I'll just show the inspection as well. So if we have an inspection, we'll be able to see the inspection here in this one, but like we don't have the inspection. So that's a separate setup. We need to create it, and then we need to associate that to the service task, to the inspection, and then that will show up here. But for now, we don't have a service inspection. So once you have the power fluctuation as chosen incident type, so all this information from this template incident type power fluctuation will be copied into the system here. So what's wrong with this one? You can see the incident type. It's copied, and services, that's copied. And then product is having an issue. Interesting. So I don't know why it's probably taking some while, but like you can see that if I just add one more in services here, it's going to show up here. If I add one more service task, it's going to show up here as we refresh them. But this is template. Now the work order has all the information that's there from the template. And then, as you can see, once that is added, my work order has all the necessary information for me to go and schedule it to someone. So if you go to settings, there is a further stuff you want to talk about. So there is a thing called priority. So this is also defines how the scheduling engine picks up the work order. So based on the high priority, the score gets high when the automatic scheduling engine picks it up. And also it helps the technician to the dispatcher to choose the right job as well. So you can always have a different color for different priorities, and the currency come from the customer. And then you can also have something called the time promise. So imagine, if you want to promise a customer saying that, hey, there will be someone at your place from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. and that's where this is defined. And when you schedule, then the dispatcher tries to schedule the job, or when the automatic scheduling engine tries to schedule the job, it does respects this promised time to make sure that the work order gets scheduled in this promised time to the technician to make sure that he reaches the customer place on that specific time window. That's where the promised time is. And the rest of the stuffs are pretty straightforward. And what you're going to see is you just go back to the PowerPoint and then see quickly about the scheduling, and then come back to this one. So scheduling is basically efficient scheduling basically ensures that the right technician with the right skills reaches the right customer at the right time. And then the field service basically offers three key scheduling approaches: manual scheduling, assisted scheduling, and automated scheduling via a separate add-on for the field service called RSO, Resource Scheduling Optimization Engine. First thing, manual scheduling, straightforward. Dispatcher basically drags and drops work orders onto the schedule board, and it's basically suitable for low volume or whenever the ad hoc job is required. When I say ad hoc jobs, imagine that you already have a plan, and then suddenly some technician just say falls sick, or he couldn't make it, vehicle breakdown. Then you need someone to go and address the issue. So that's where you basically take the dispatcher can go and manually change the job, assign to someone, and then basically fix it. That's where the ad hoc job scheduling comes into the picture, and then basically gives the full control to the schedule dispatcher for technician assignment. And also it's useful when automation is not required. And then assisted scheduling is something like not fully automated, but it's a scheduling assistant is a tool that which we'll see shortly, where the system suggests the right technicians to do the job. Then it comes to the dispatcher's responsibility to basically review them and then book them. It's a semi-automated dispatcher-led operation, but system suggests the right slots based on the parameters we saw currently, which we'll see again in detail right now. And then fully automated scheduling is where the RSO the automatic engine comes into the picture. It basically considers the technician skills, their current location, the historical travel time, the priority we saw in the work order, and the work hours, and then the resources utilization, all those things. It's quite complex and advanced engine that basically does this. And right now, with the more AI and Gen AI coming to the picture, we are seeing that the engine is also getting being we are seeing single resource optimization sort of, it's called operation agent right now, sorry, scheduling agent, which has been released in this wave 2, which is goes general availability next year, March. Which is uses very similar pattern of the RSO, but it uses Gen AI to create the suggested slots, and then which we can use to choose it, which we'll see shortly. So before getting into details about each and details about the automated scheduling, I just want to show you how the manual and semi-automated works. Unfortunately, I won't be able to show the automated scheduling as a demo today because it requires separate add-on and license. But I'll just show the manual and the semi-automated now. So now you see that we have the work order. Let's see how we schedule this work order to the technician. So we know that this work order requires it has a promise window of some time in the next year, but when manually scheduling, it can be done anytime as we wanted. And we know that it requires service charge this and the skill set of certain things. So to see something about what is required, you go to the resource requirement. Remember, this is the linking record that I told that which basically has exclusive information about what is required for the scheduling. So you can see here that the promised date is for next year. Duration is 2 hours, and then the scheduling. If you saw that it's specific high priority customer, the priority is high, and time window is within 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. is what I want to schedule this. And then it has the address lat long, which basically picked up by the engine, and then it also has the characteristics, the skill sets that an specific technician needs to have to get this done. Otherwise, the system won't, if the technician doesn't have the skill set, system won't suggest the technicians. And you can also have the preference resources. So as part of, if let's say if there is a certain customer who always prefers certain technician to do the job, you can always have that, let's say the technician, in this case, let's say Ashley, for example. And if you just add as a preferred technician, system will give preference to Ashley when if there are 2 or 3 technicians available. If the Ashley is one of them, it is gonna give preference to Ashley. If let's say someone you wanted to must choose from, then system will always choose that specific technician. If you want to block any technician based on the previous customer feedback, you can always add a technician as a restricted technician, so that that technician doesn't get scheduled to jobs for this customer. These are the different things you can do. For now, I'm just going to go and remove the preference for now. And what I'll do is I'll just go to the schedule board, which is this one here. The schedule board is the tool, scheduling tool basically. It offers the dispatchers to create a job. So you can see all the schedules, all the technicians get showed up here, and then you can see all the unscheduled work orders or open or requirements basically here. And let's say if you want to get this job to be assigned to Bernadette, for example, I can just go and then just schedule something to Bernadette. Before that, I'm just going to change the time settings of this one. Just a moment. Because currently I have all of these things set in the Pacific time zone. So I'm just going to change my board settings also to a specific time zone. What I'll do is now just go to the Monday. So I'll just go and let's say I book this for Bernadette. Where is he? Yeah. So this is the manual scheduling basically. So what I did is, as a dispatcher, I booked this work order 00389 to Bernadette. Now, if you open the work order, you can open it from here as well. So if you open the booking and then the work order opens up, yeah. So you can see the work order is now scheduled. It was unscheduled and now it is scheduled. And if you see the related bookings of the work order, the booking would be created to the Bernadette on the time that we chose. So we chose 20th October and 8 a.m. So while drawing and dropping, and it shows that Bernadette basically is chosen for that time. So that's what the manual scheduling is, and that's how happens in the back end when you basically drag and drop. And you can always reduce the time. If you think 2 hours is not enough or sufficient, say it's too much for this one, you can always go and reduce this, and that will also change the booking time as well. So if you see it's became 1.5 hours instead of 2 hours, and those kind of things. Because end of the day, it doesn't matter whatever automation we have, the man behind the screen knows much better than the whole automation. So if they decide if for certain cases it needs to be extended or reduced or changed to someone, in case if I want to move to Bernadette to Ashley at 9:30, whatever, I can just move like this and it just changes to Ashley. This is the manual, and that is called semi-automated. So what it does is, how you do is you basically click on the work order and basically click find availability. There are certain ways to trigger these semi-automations. One way is to basically choose the work order and then click find availability. So reason you don't see any resources because there is no one that's suitable to do this job. Probably no one has the particular this example of the skill set that I asked for. So I'm going to remove the skill set and give one more try. And also I'm going to probably increase the distance for system to look for someone within the more radius than just 20-kilometer radius. Still, I don't see anyone. Maybe it's too far in the future, but I can always go and go back to 2025. It was 2026 because it's a quite thing from the future. So I'm just going to change this thing for now, and then I'll just choose today. It's easier, and then I just search. Basically whatever the I haven't to be honest, I haven't configured and tested this one yet in this new environment. But basically, when there is a suitable scheduling resources that will be that is available, it basically shows up here so that it can be chosen and filled. Let me just try probably one more booking. And as I said, this is one way to trigger the scheduling assistant. You can also trigger it from the resource requirement or from the work order as well. So if I go back to the work order, which we just created, and I just try to click book, that will also basically trigger the scheduling assistant and try to find the resources whoever has the matching skill set. Again, like we know that we didn't have anyone, so I'm just gonna go and change this to today, and then probably go change this to next 1 year, and then just gonna change this to 50 kilometers. Just increase it and see what happens. And then just say location agnostic. Yeah. So just what I did is I just extended my search to show you, what are the different resources who can perform this. So you can see, these are different resources who can perform and what are the days they can perform. So if I just want to choose Abraham for this case, so he can just do this job, this, it starts the time and hence this time. So I can choose him, and then I can just review the details, and then I can just book and exit or just book. So what that's going to do is that's going to create a booking as well. So in this case, I didn't choose, I just, as a dispatcher, I only reviewed the result and approved it. But the system basically suggested the right technician based on the filter criteria we have. If we had someone who already has those two characteristics, probably it would have shown them. So in this case, you can see now the work order status would be, it is scheduled. So if you refresh, you can see it is it was unscheduled. Now it is scheduled because it got the booking. So if you go to the booking, you can see that it's booked to Abraham for a certain time in this case. So that's how the semi-automated booking works. So if I just go back to the slide, I'm going to probably skip few slides for the automated scheduling as we are running out of time, because I want to show you something else on the mobile app as well. So as a best practices, before you do any automation, this is exclusively for automated scheduling called RSO, because I won't be able to show the demo. So I thought I will have more information to understand what's going on. So basically, if I just go to the users, so prerequisite of data for any scheduling, even RSO, automated scheduling or semi-automated scheduling is, you need to have the customer with the address and with the territories, and then bookable resources, which is the technicians, and the resources should have the territories as well. So it's like a region where the customer belongs to and where the resource belongs to. That's when they are both the same region, that's where the system will pick them. And then the skills is what we saw, and then the location or the work hours. We haven't gone into details about work hours, and we saw priorities. Basically, work hours is nothing but a calendar where you can define the resources, skill sets, and the work hours. So it's basically, now we have the left hand side, which is the work order. and we have the service task, and we have the skill set and time that we want this job to do. And the right hand side, we need the right resource who needs to do the job, right? So the right hand side, which is to match the resource to the right job, you need to have the resource also configured, and this is the resource. So they should be working within the nearby to that location, and they should be having the right skill set, as you see here, and they should be working in the same time where the customer promised time is done. So this is where the time, this guy, poor guy, he works 24 hours a day. That's why you see like all of them. But if you define the certain work hours window, you can also include the break and all those things. System will not book anyone who is on the break. It will just book only the people who are in the work hours. So it matches the work hours, skill set, all the informations of the resources to all the informations of the work order, and then it find the right one. That's what it is. So that's why the key data in terms of setup is required is also work hours and priorities and those things. And then this is a different terminology. Again, it's all mostly into automated scheduling. Instead of going to automated scheduling, I'll just show you why we need automated scheduling. So I'll just show you 3 common scenarios. So, the most common scenario is basically the overnight scheduling, where, you have like thousands of work orders, for different customers, for different promise time. So you can basically let the optimization engine to run overnight, and basically it forecasts and then schedules the jobs upfront, and then you'll see all the jobs on schedule in the schedule board as well. So if there's a further changes required, the dispatcher can always do changes to the jobs, which we like what we saw earlier. But it's a classic example, right? Like you can have a in our washing machine scenario, we saw that if you have a washing machine to be serviced every 3 months once, you can basically have a frequency of quarterly. In this case, you can have a automation job to be run overnight based on a different repetition scenario, recurrent scenario, and then it picks the right job and basically assigns to the right technician. Whatever you do manually, it does it itself. And you can always have intraday scheduling. Apart from overnight scheduling that's planned way ahead, you can also have intraday scheduling where a job has been scheduled for that specific day, and that's another business scenario. And third thing is also you can have a conditional based scenario where you basically you'll have automation to say if it's emergency, it goes to the emergency job and just gets addressed immediately. If it's not emergency, then it will be put on later, and then the technician or dispatcher will maybe address them if required, those kind of things. So that's where the whole overall component about the scheduling. And the last 2 business data points about the in field service, one is the inventory and warehouse management, and the last one is the mobile app. And with that, we close the session. So inventory is basically, I'm not going to show demo of this one right now, but basically that's where you have the products that we use. I know all those things will be tracked against the inventory. So if you see example what we saw, we had a product, and that product will be coming from an inventory, and then it will be adjusted in the inventory. And you can have inventories like main inventory and sub inventory, like main branch, sub branch, and then the van and the vehicle. All these things will be a separate inventory, so that you can have a full track about where the product was tracked from, where the product moved from which inventory to which inventory, and also which work order it's used. So you have the full life cycle of where the product initiated and then how it ended up. So that will be linked up to your ERP to basically do the management as well there in advance. In ERP integration is not mandatory. If you have ERP, most of the scenarios it will have where you'll have can track this integration. And this is common, like key core capabilities and common points about the warehouse. Here is you can see the you can have scenarios like a main warehouse, branch warehouse, and then mobile warehouses. And then the inventory supports, as I said, transfers, adjustments, and returns as well. If you have a item that needs to be returned to the vendor, you raise the RTV, the return to vendor, and then it gets to go to the vendor back. And then technician basically use mobile app to check the stock before starting the job and record the parts and then trigger the returns on those kind of things. And the key tables that you use in inventory is basically inventory itself, which is warehouse, and then the inventory adjustment, which basically adjusting the quantity, and then inventory transfer, moving from one warehouse to another warehouse, and then PO, and then purchase receipt to basically deal with the stocks. And finally, last thing is the field service mobile app, which is a key component of another key component of the field service itself. So it basically empowers the technician to manage their work orders, captures data, and stay connected with the field. It needs to work. It works in offline, and it works. It's built on the Microsoft Power Platform using Power Apps. So which means we are not using any. You can also have another third-party vendors like Resco. It depends on your business scenario and the budget and customer preference. But today we are just going to only show the field service mobile app from the Microsoft itself. So the core capabilities of the mobile app, you can view the assigned work orders, bookings. The technicians can see it in their phone, and then they can basically record the service charge. So whatever we saw so far in the system, imagine in the desktop, imagine that somebody from the back office deals with the data, and somebody on the field, they won't be carrying the laptop. But in most of the scenarios, they'll be using the phone or the tablet, iPad. For that reason, mostly mobile phones these days, they can access all this information in the phone, and then they basically, even in offline it works, and it syncs back when they go offline. When they go online, you can choose as part of the offline configuration what are the tables. As an administrator, you can define what are the tables needs to be shown in the mobile app in the offline. In that way, the phone doesn't get bloated and the experience is better. And if they can scan the barcode, they can basically take a picture, upload the pictures, take out a video, upload the video. But it's all comes with the best practices of how you're going to handle it. And the security and access standpoint, it uses the out of Azure AD, Entra ID, which means it's controlled by the same organization access. Yeah, you can also have further security control by in tune for the enterprise level security. And once we have so how the mobile app will look like is, I can't show the mobile repair app right now, but I can show you how the simulator will look like. This is a desktop edition of the mobile app basically. So what happens is, when someone, if like technician opens his mobile app, he's going to see probably bookings like this. So you can see there is a booking completed yesterday, and there is one booking that's scheduled for 27th. So once the work order is scheduled, so it's work order created, work order scheduled to technician. Then now technician is to perform on the work order, right? This is where they perform on the work order. So they open the job that they needs to work, and they basically open the booking, and you can see it's scheduled for 27th of October as a 2 hours job. And what I'll do is, I just go to the work order and do my stuffs against it. So what I'll do is, I just go to the work order, and I'll just see what are the products I need to use. And this is the product I need to use. I just use it. And then, you can see I can also deactivate the whole work order, the product. And then I can now do all this export stuff and import stuff, and I can save and close. I can create a new work order. I can create new incident type, all those things based on the permissions that you give. And if I go to the service task, I can see the bunch of service tasks. So what I'll do is I'll finish the job. If I have inspection, I can see the inspection here. And I can just do all the jobs here and here. What I'll do is I'll just say it's completed 100%. Or I can just mark as mark complete. Anything is fine. And that's completes the job. Completes part of the job. If you want to complete all of them, I can just, choose. And then I can just say mark complete. And then just choose mark complete, and then just choose mark complete. Once I keep doing it, I just keep completing it. Once I complete the job, I'm happy with all these things. What I'll do is I'm just gonna say, okay, I'll just add what are the notes. If you want to add any notes, if you want to add any timeline, if you want to get a capture, just do all these things here. Once I do this, what I'll do is I just go ahead and then say, okay, I'm just completed the job, or you will have automation to basically mark it as completed once the booking set is completed. So just complete it, and then the booking is also completed. Or you can go to the booking and then mark the booking is basically completed once the work order completed, or you basically mark the booking as completed, and then the work order also gets completed. Mostly the technician will mark the booking as completed. So what I'll do is, if I just say if I just talk about the sequence of events, we just pick this one, which is scheduled for November 3. So when I start it, I'll just mark it as in progress. The moment I make it as in progress, the work order will become, in progress as well. And then once I reach the customer location, then I mark this as, sorry, I mark it as first as traveling. so that I know that I started traveling to the customer location. The work order becomes, work order has set as also changes to in progress. And then once I finish the booking once I reach the customer place, I start the work, I change this to in progress. And all this, then I will finish the job, then I'll make it completed or cancel. If I'm break, I'll mark it as a break, and then I'll complete it. And then what happens is I'll just save this one, and then, the end time needs to be greater than the source time. So I just save this, and then if you just, that's what my job is done as a technician. So if the back office, if you open the same job 004 as a work order, you'll be able to see that that's work order is also completed. As a technician, he's done the job. As a back office dispatcher, I'll just see the job is completed or not. So if I just sort this out by completed, I can see 004, which we just saw is completed because the booking is completed, and that's the only booking associated with the work order. Now the work order is also completed. So I review this, I can see the stuffs are done. I just change it to, a posted if the invoice is raised or so and so. That's how the status flows in. So that's all the demo for the field service along with this, what I want to show you. And as I said, it's a very vast topic, and it's not easy to cover all the components of the field service in an hour. And now, thanks everyone for patiently waiting. I know we extended by 10 minutes, but I apologize for that. I thought it's better to show the demo as well as this PowerPoint rather than just talking with the PowerPoint. And I hope this session is helpful and you got something out of the session. And as I said, please feel free to reach me out. And then I'm happy to help wherever required. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeevarajan. I think it was a great session, and you shared some great insights, which is helping everyone. Maybe one or two questions which I'm going to actually cover. So one is, what type of the businesses benefit most from the implementing of the D365 field services, based on your experience, which working with different, businesses and type of industries which they are in the market. So which one of them is the most benefit out of that?
I would say most of them, mostly like around asset management, facility management, and hospital healthcare, industries, and all those things will use the field service. So if you take, for example, any mining company in Australia, they use field service to basically send the technicians to the mining industry. And if you see healthcare, and if you want to manage the doctors and nurses and the operation theaters, to block the operation theater for certain doctors, for certain nurses, you'll use the field service as well, and the equipments as well. So and for non-for-profit as well.
And do you have any, of course, if you can share a success story or a case study where you actually and your team actually developed the D365 services, which is significantly improved operations, of course, without naming the client that you work on. So just explain it, which one was the most success that you had, and it was changing the business completely as part of the, digital transformation, as part of the digital transformation and adopting this technology.
Yeah, so we definitely, as part of Veldradar, where I'm working in, so we are specialized in the field service. We are very quite known for the field service implementations for several industries. And also in Veldradar, we do have several add-ons as well that we built. So which basically, add more advantages to the field service product itself, wherever there is a gap. So, especially around the rostering and then many stuffs around that. So if you take one of the customers, there are several customers we made successfully, implemented since years and then using it. And one of them very recently, it's in public information. It's all published, and then success stories are shared already. So one of the success stories very recently shared by Microsoft itself, a couple of weeks before, is for Australia Grid, Ausgrid. So where the field service is used extensively. And another one is also the one of the well-known pest and hygiene management company in Australia. So where we use field service extensively to manage the technicians to schedule the jobs for the pest control and pest services. So if you have let's say pest contract with them to basically come and do the inspection for termite, and then do and when it's the season in the summer season, and then if you have commercial places where you basically maintain the hygiene, where the technicians had to go there and to change the, let's say, soap dispenser, refill the toilet rolls, remove the trash bins, all those kind of even small jobs needs someone has to go there and somebody has to plant, and it requires a massive planning because not all the buildings or commercials work at the same time. There will be an agreement where you say a certain let's say commercial place wants the technicians to come on the morning or before the business hours or after the business hours, and then do it on Mondays or Saturdays. Those kind of things, it gets more complex, and yeah. So we have those and fully automated, scheduling and dispatching and mobile app as well. Yeah.
And no, that was a great story. I think it's changing a lot of as part of the digital transformation. Most of the businesses, they are trying actually to move from a lot of manual type of works or having more tracking of those steps they are taking through that process of the business. I think definitely is going to be helpful. So if you want to share one upcoming features as part of the roadmap for the D365 Field Service, which is you're getting more excited about. So what would be actually that feature?
Yeah, the key one would be the operation agent, which is basically when you say the agent, you know what it is. So it's going to be a Gen AI agent, a Copilot agent. So as part of the field service product, this feature has been released. It's in the preview right now, and it's going to be GA, general availability in the March 2026. So what it does is, the one that I described now about the automated scheduling. So this is, using the AI feature of the product, but it uses the crux of the automated scheduling. It uses the same, filter condition and choosing criteria, but it uses the Gen AI, not just the normal engine anymore. It uses Gen AI to basically find the right resources who is suitable for that, and then suggest the slots of the resources, and then you're going to just choose it and book it. And it's going to be the most exciting one. That's probably, I would say, a stepping stone or a starting point of the using the Gen AI inside the field service to find the resources and the slots. But it gets more complicated and massive along the way, which I can expect in the coming years. Yeah.
Awesome. No, that's great to know actually what's coming up in the next months or in next year potentially as part of the roadmap. So thanks for your knowledgeable and very informative sessions that you had, and thanks everyone for joining or watching this actually video later over the YouTube or LinkedIn. So please, as Jeevarajan just said, if you have any question, please feel free actually to reach out to Jeevarajan on any question that you have about the field service. Thanks again for your joining to this session, and I wish you all have a happy, great day actually for with yourself and your family. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Priya. Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone. Have a good one.